Hello and welcome back to my Dandelion Diaries. So there's been a lot of talk about 2025 planners and what are we going to pick, and it's just that lovely time of year where we are prepping for 2025. And I'm kind of in the same boat, so I want to go through my process of how I am going to decide what I want for 2025 on camera with you guys today. And I'm going to be doing a bit of an exercise, if you will. So I have a list of questions that I'm going to ask myself, and then I'm going to mind map, kind of like I did last year, of what I want for each of the things that I'm going to be doing. So the main thing here is I'm going to be answering each one of these questions for each planner that I would possibly want. Also, quick caveat, it is kind of stormy outside, so if there's any major crashes or flashes of light, I do apologize. I have some lights on inside, so hopefully it won't be too distracting, but it is just, it's Texas summer weather. It's either really hot or it's stormy. So let's go ahead and start with my very first question that I'm going to ask myself, and that is, what categories of life do I need to plan? So I'm going to be using my Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen, just because I need it to be a little bit darker since I am doing this on camera, but usually I do this in pencil just because I like to erase or change my mind, but y'all get to see how this works out in real time. So first off, I'm going to make a little 2025 circle in the middle. And the question is, again, what categories of life do I need to plan? So I know for myself, I like to have a personal planner, or one that is essentially the catch-all, if you will. So that's option one. I know I'm going to want a health planner of some kind, something that I can keep in a portable fashion, take to the doctor's office, track my meals, habits, all that kind of stuff. I know I'm going to want some kind of garden journal or garden planner. I have kept up with one for over 3 years now, and I just really like being able to take a book with me into the garden space, make notes, take pictures, any kind of things like that. And then, those are like my main three. This year, 2024, I added in a couple of extra things, and I don't know. I kind of want to keep up with them, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't need them. They're like an extra thing if I want to or have time. But those two things were gratitude and then astrology. And then I also need to have some kind of notebook or like anything really for work. And work primarily is this channel. So YouTube, creating stuff for my sticker business. It just needs to primarily be like a monthly with notes pages. But I may branch out from that. We'll see. But I'm just going to put work down here at the bottom. Okay. So the next question I'm going to ask myself is, what size works best for me? So for each one of these items on here, I'm going to ask what size. For me personally, again, I think personal catch-all, I work best in an A5 system. This book does not leave my desk or my house. It probably travels from like my bedroom to my couch to my desk. But A5, it's big enough to put everything in. It's not so big that I feel like it's just a textbook. I've thought about going to like a B5 size before, but I think it's just too big. I think A5 is my happy place, especially since I was really successful in like the Hobonichi cousin for so many years. And now this planner, A5 is my sweet spot for that. Health, I think weeks size or the like small wallet size works best. This year I'm in the Sterling ink, so it's called the N2. I've also considered doing something like a B6 Slim for this, but I think that I don't really need that much space. So I think weeks is really like my happy place with the health planner. For my garden planner, this is where I have been struggling a lot this year. I made a switch in 2024. I went from a Hobonichi Weeks into a Sterling Ink N1, which is essentially like the size of a standard TN standard notebook. And I like the N1, so I'm going to put N1 question mark, but I think I was much happier in the Weeks size. I just needed more notes pages. So I'm going to put a question mark by the Weeks as well. So those are like my two sizes that I think would work best for my garden, because I needed to be portable to where I take it with me into my garden space, but at the same time I needed to have enough space that I can still make the notes and journal entries that I like to make for my garden. For work, we'll just go in this direction, I guess. For work, I feel like A6 or B6 works well for me here. I don't really need all the space of a B6. A6 works just fine. I just need a small calendar and then notes pages, like I said. And this one does kind of travel with me. So like I will take this with me to the library, or if I go to a coffee shop or something, it's light, portable. I can just make some quick notes and it fits in any bag. So I think A6 is really what I would prefer over a B6, just because, I don't know, I don't need all of the space of the B6. I think the A6 works just fine. Gratitude, this year I have been using the Magic of I notebook, pocket notebook. This is from, Magic of I, and I have loved this, but it's not a necessity for me. So I think if I were to do another gratitude journal, it just needs to be something small again. So that's an A6 size, so I'll put A6. I also think something like a pocket size might work, or passport. Because all it really needs to be is just a very small space that I can put gratitude in. And I did try to incorporate gratitude into my catch-all in July when I did my One Book July challenge. And while that did kind of work, I prefer to have it in a little separate bucket. I think it's like my mindset goes into gratitude mode, and it's easier to focus if it's in its own little space versus trying to smush it into the catch-all, if you will. So I think size-wise, A6 or pocket or passport would be my happy place for gratitude, because it doesn't need to be huge, and I don't need to write down paragraphs and paragraphs for this to give the effect that I want on my brain. For astrology, this is kind of the newest thing I added this year. Previous years, I had just added it into my catch-all, and I'm really happy with what I've done in 2024, which is starting a take a note. This is an A5 size, and I have found that this is just like perfect. So I think I'm just going to stick with A5 size again for this year, or for next year, 2025. But I would also consider even a B5. So the only thing with the B5 is it might be too big, since I primarily like to write my astrology stuff like in bed or on my couch. Carrying around that big of a book may be a problem. So I'm not 100% sure on the B5. A5 I know is definitely a happy place for me though. Okay, so size-wise, I've kind of gotten a little bit figured out. Now I'm going to ask myself, do I want more structure or flexibility? And this is something that I have definitely played with a lot this year in 2024. So I made the switch from going from the Hobonichi world, where everything's very structured, into the freedom world of Sterling Ink, which is this book, where the back pages are essentially all blank. It's like a notebook. And while I have loved the various amounts of flexibility in the back pages for my personal catch-all book, which is what this is, I think I am going to go back to structure, because I have really fallen off what I wanted. Like, I've fallen off with like what I wanted in terms of my daily pages. So when I was in the Hobonichi Cousin, where everything's laid out one day per page, I, yes, had blank pages, but the days that were already structured, I could plan ahead. I could make task lists in advance, which, yes, I could predate all of these pages in the back, but I feel like that's just defeating the purpose. Like, if I want the daily pages already dated, I should get something that's already done for me and reduce that amount of time and setup. And that is something, again, I came from bullet journaling and like notebooks and like Archer and Olive books and spiral notebooks, and moved more towards planners because I needed more time in my life and less time building spreads. And I think that's something that I want to go back to, is just the structure. So personal catch-all definitely needs structure. Health wise, I really like having weeklies, but I don't really do any kind of dailies. However, I want to in 2025 start a weightlifting log, which, you know, once we get closer to whatever, you know, planners I choose and setups and stuff like that, I'll talk more about that. But essentially it is I will take it to the gym with me, write down what weights I'm doing, what exercise, and just have a log of things that way. So it is still kind of a daily log, but it's not going to be every single day because I'm not going to be lifting weights every single day. So I'm going to say combo of flex and structure. And wow, I don't even know if I spelled that right. I don't know if this is going to look like the weeks that I'm using now, the N2 from Sterling Ink, but I definitely need plenty of notes pages. So I'm going to make a little note underneath that, lots of notes pages. Because for what I'm thinking of doing is just writing down the date and then the log. So that's just kind of my brief thoughts. For garden planning, this one is very similar to health. I feel like I need a combination of flexibility and structure. So I'm going to put the same thing again. And that's because I like having the notes pages for journaling. That is one thing. If you are a huge journaler, I feel like if you needed blank notes pages for journaling, that is a wonderful way to go about this. If you need more of like planning task lists, planning events, using it more like a planner function, I would say structure is probably your best bet if you're going to be doing something like that. But yeah, for my garden planner, definitely a combination of flexibility and structure. Again, lots of notes pages. Okay, so for work, this is kind of like mainly structure for me, I guess, because I need monthlies for sure, I need dailies for sure, and then also notes pages. So I'm just going to put mainly structure because I can use a daily as a note page as well. So structure. Gratitude, this is totally flexibility. I don't need to have a set planner for this. I could easily just come into it whenever I want. I like the structure from the Magic of I, where I could write something every single day, but ultimately I could just use a blank notebook for this if I really wanted to. It just depends on what I have. And then astrology, this one needs to be structured as well because it is literally every single day is different. Every single day has different aspects that I'm tracking, different kind of transits, anything like that. So this one needs to be pure structure as well. Okay, now the big question, how much am I willing to spend on each planner? So roughly this book is the one that I'm going to keep forever. So personal catch-all is the one that's going to be archived on my shelf. If I need to make space, this is the only one I would keep. I would toss the other ones. This is the big boy. So I would probably be willing to spend upward of $60 on this one because I want it to have really nice paper. I'm a huge Tomoe River paper fan. Even the new Sanzen, it doesn't bother me as much as I thought it would. And then I also want it to have a decent enough binding structure that it's going to hold up. $60 also could incorporate the cover. It just depends. Since I already have a stash of covers, I don't think I would need to buy anything new for 2025, but there's always new stuff coming out, and if, impulse buys or you just have to have it kind of moment, I just like to keep that option open. Health-wise, I feel like this book works really great for me too as an archive. So again, if I had to keep only 2 books, it would be these top 2 and I would toss the rest. Ultimately, I want to keep all of them, but health-wise, I would say probably $30. Anything over that, I feel like is a bit much, especially for the week's size planner. So if it's going to be a smaller planner, I don't want to be spending $50 on it. It's just paper. It's just a notebook. Like, I don't need it to be, super bougie or super luxury or anything like that. I just want to be able to have it and go with it. Garden planner, I'm going to say the same thing, like $30, because it's going to get dirty. It's going to go into the garden with me. It may end up landing in chicken poop for all I know if I drop it. Like, I just need it to be a good functioning book. And yes, I realize $30 and $60, these are very expensive types of planners I'm talking about, but again, I am kind of a paper snob. I really like to use my fountain pens, and if the paper is not friendly with fountain pens, I'm kind of like, I don't want it. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be considering a higher price range just because I'm paying for the paper, and I want the paper to be what I want. Anyways, work-wise, this is kind of up in the air too. A6 size, I feel like I shouldn't be spending more than, $30 again. If it's over $30, I feel like it's just too pricey for the size of the book you're getting. I mean, the thing is like this big. I don't need it to be costing the size of, my family's takeout meal. Gratitude-wise, same thing. It's a smaller book, $30 or less. Astrology-wise, since this is a bigger book, I'm going to put the same price range as the $60 one. However, I don't think that it's really all that necessary to be that thick, since I mainly just need it to be a structured planner, but I'm still going to put that price range on here anyways. Okay, and then the last question I'm going to ask myself is, do I want to try something new for 2025? So this is kind of where everything hits the fan, right? Like, you're so used to a system, or you are really trying to get out of a system or something like that. It's just what do I want to do personally? How am I feeling about this? And I realize it's August when I'm making this video, so there's plenty of time to make any changes or decisions. And ultimately, I have not made any wholesome decisions yet, because it is still so far out from when I would actually purchase for 2025. Like, once we get to the end of August, like September 1st is usually like my deadline for myself. Like, what do I want? Because that's when Hobonichi releases all their stuff, and that's when a lot of other shops have like their pre-orders and even ready to ship items ready to go. Plus, I want to have my items with me long enough that I can flip through them, kind of decide where I want to put some things, pre-set up, if you will. And yeah. So do I want to try something new? Personal and catch-all, this is probably the biggest change that I made this year, going from the Hobonichi Cousin into the Sterling Ink A5. I want to change back to the Cousin. I'm going to be honest right now. I have thought about this for a long time. I've been journaling about it. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it in videos. I really miss the structure of the daily pages. I think that's what I want to go back to. So I'm going to put down Cousin ? Because I still am not 100% set on it. I also am thinking of the Wonderland 222. So I totally just, okay, well, hold on. Wonderland 222. So I talked with Lisa over at Wonderland 222, and I'm going to be trying out the A5. So I'm definitely going to be showcasing what that looks like. But I really want to look at this planner because it has all the pages. So it's got tracker pages in the front, it's got monthly pages, it's got big pages for reviews and like intentions, it's got all of the daily note pages plus more notes pages. Like, it's literally got all of the pages, and they have essentially the same layout as the Hobonichi Cousin in the weeklies, where it's the vertical unstacked weekends with like the timeline, and that's kind of what I want to go back to. So this is definitely one I'm willing to try new for 2025. That being said, I think this is the only one I'm willing to try right now. Thinking of cost effectiveness, I don't want to, get a bunch of different planners and then, end up not using them. And yes, I could use them as notebooks later with the paper, but ultimately I don't want to have a whole stack of dated planners that I'm not going to do anything with, that may not sell if I try to resell them. So I'm only going to try one. And I'm pretty firm on this right now. So going back to the Cousin, I know that worked for me. I felt really happy with that. I was at Planner Peace in the beginning when I tried it, and yes, throughout the years, I kind of fell out of love with the colors in the planner and the quotes at the bottom. But now that I have tried something new with bare bones, like no quotes, no colors, I kind of miss it. So I'm going to go back to what worked for me. But I'm willing to try this new planner, the Wonderland 222, because I think it could be a better system to put everything in for archive purposes. And ultimately, I do want to try something new since I still wasn't 100% happy in the cousin previously. So it's my one shot at, trying something new. And if it flops, it flops. I'm not going to try to buy a whole bunch of different planners. Okay, enough about personal catch-all, trying new things there. For a health planner, I don't want to try anything new here. I'm really happy with the Sterling Ink N2. My only thing is if she changes the layout, which I don't know if she will have released a video or anything by the time this one goes out, but if she changes the layout, I don't know if I'll stay. The other only thing is price-wise. So the Sterling Ink N2 is the same size as the Hobonichi Weeks. And the Hobonichi Weeks is much cheaper, if you will, than her planners based on where they're located. If I were to purchase them from a US retailer, then it's about the same price. So take that with you will. The Hobonichi Weeks has quotes at the bottom and it has cream paper. Two of the things that I'm not a huge fan of, but the only thing about the Sterling Ink N2 that I don't know, I feel like it doesn't have enough notes pages, and I have the compact version this year. Here, I'll just pull it out so you're not just staring at my hands. So I have the compact version, which means it has 121 notes pages in it. So it's still a good size, but since I'm wanting to do something with lots of notes pages, have those, weightlifting log entries, if you will, I don't know if it's going to be enough notes pages. Which brings me to the other option she provides, which is the full year of the N2. And that book is like $50. And I don't think I'm willing to spend that much on a book that's that small. So I'm probably going to go back to Hobonichi Weeks for this and the Mega. Or if the price seems more reasonable, I'll go to the Sterling Ink N2 because I don't know. Also, the N2 full year, that is the one that I would need to get, is so chunky. It doesn't fit in like any covers well. Like you have to get a custom cover, which I do have one that would fit that. It's just, it's a bit more restrictive in accessories, if you will, and having different accessories to kind of change out through the year for me personally works better and helps curb my desire to buy new things. Like, because I already have things I can shop my stash, and change it out, make it look like it's new, but it's not. It's just like a little mindset thing. So I don't know. So this one's still kind of up in the air for me for health, but I am kind of leaning more towards the Hobonichi Weeks Mega, especially since they released that beautiful chartreuse green Hobonichi Weeks, and the colors were like preview they did. That's such a gorgeous color. So I may go back to the Mega because the quotes don't really bother me that much, and the cream paper isn't really that bad. It's just it's not white paper. The only other thing is the left hand page is not graded, but my handwriting, I don't know. I feel like I'll be fine. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, now let's talk about garden planner. So this year, again, I don't know if I want to try something new, or if I want to go back to what worked previously. So this year I tried something new. I did the Sterling Ink N1. This year was just my year of Sterling Ink. I just really loved all of the things she put out, and I wanted to try them, and I definitely have enjoyed using them, but I'm starting to feel like they aren't working, especially this book. So this is the N1. This is the standard size notebook for Sterling Ink, and this is the compact version. This would be fine in terms of notes pages. I still have plenty of notes pages in the back of this one specifically. So notes pages wise, Sterling Ink N1 is fine, especially the compact version. The only thing is I feel like there are parts of the year that I am not putting enough into my notebook because I don't have enough going on in my garden. And that's pretty common with seasonal growing, right? Like you grow a bunch of stuff in the spring, you harvest summer and fall, winter's like prep time. So there's going to be little lulls throughout the year that I don't have anything to write down, or things that are just slow and I'm being patient and waiting. Yeah. So again, all that being said, I think I would be willing to try something new. Probably something undated maybe. And I still have been really on the fence about what I want to do with my garden planner. However, I did do really well in, again, the Hobonichi weeks for X number of years. And that is something I could fall back on because I know that worked. And I know it was easy to maintain. And again, it is a much more reasonable price for the Tomoe River paper that I am so in love with. So I am going to put down Hobonichi weeks. Again, the mega. Because I do want the extra notes pages to make sure I have enough room for my garden notes, pre-planning, things like that. The only downside with the Hobonichi Weeks Mega is they are blank covers, but at the same time, to me, like I sticker all my covers. Like have y'all noticed that? Like I decorate the cover whether I can put stuff on it or not. Like this is a textured cover and there's still stickers on it. So I don't see what the problem is of me having a blank slate. Essentially, it's still a blank cover. I can still put stickers on it. Yes, it is a cloth cover, but stuff still sticks to that. You can put glue on it if you need to. So me just trying to reason with myself that yes, there's a limited amount of color choices for the Hobonichi Weeks Mega, but I'm still going to put a bunch of stuff on the front of it anyways. Okay, so for work, A6 size, I think I'm going to go with the A6 Techo from Hobonichi because it has all of the structure that I need and it's very portable and it's very reasonably priced. So the Techo is I think like $18 and I would just need the little paper book. I don't need it to be fancy. It's for work. If I wanted to do something even cheaper than that, I would even go for something like an A6 Kokuyo, which I have done before. Okay, I can't spell while I'm writing. Jeez. Oh my gosh, I did the same thing. Okay. Kokuyo. Okay. It's basically a tiny little spiral notebook. And I've done that before. It worked great. And it's like $6. So I may even go with that because that paper is still fountain pen friendly and it's very reasonably priced. For the gratitude, I don't know if I want to try anything new for this. I really like the Magic of iBook. I really think it's a great design. It's already pretty decorated, so I don't even have to decorate it if I don't want to. The only downside is the paper is not fountain pen friendly, so I have to use gel pens with it or a ballpoint pen, which is fine because I do have plenty of gel pens to work my way through, but it's just the paper is not my favorite. Other than that, if I wanted to try something new, I would consider even the new Sterling Ink Pocket option because I think that's really a great size. It's a little bit bigger than a passport, but it's still pretty small. And since she has a horizontal layout in it, it's really nice. I could just write down all of my gratitude over here and then a small entry for the week of like what I was grateful for. So that's definitely an option for me here too. I still like the Magic of Eye because the design though, so I don't know. This one's still on the fence for me too. I haven't really decided on this. Astrology wise, I love the take a note. So no, I do not want to try anything new here. This is probably my most firm decision. Take a note in the A5. The only thing that would make me not pick up this planner is if they have problems with the paper. So I was watching the Just Scribble her planner release, the Plans by Just Scribble, which I think is a fantastic planner. Again, I'm just trying to limit my purchases, so I'm only going to try one new thing. But she made a whole video about the 68 GSM Sans and Tomoe River paper, which is what the Take a Note planner uses, at least this year. So this paper is thicker than the 52 GSM, which is common in like the Hobonichi Cousin or the Sterling Ink planners or most of the other Tomoe River paper planners out there. So she did a video about the 68 GSM Sanzen Tomoe River paper, and it was not a pleasant experience based on what I saw in the video. So in the video, there was lots of bleed through, lots of smearing, feathering, things like that. So it wasn't it wasn't what I was hoping for. So that is the only thing that I would probably say no to about Take a Note, is if they go with a paper that's not going to be fountain pen friendly. I'm hoping they're not going to do that, but we will see, because their pre-orders haven't started yet. I think I haven't seen anything about their 2025 planners yet. All this to say, I really wanted to chat through my 2025 planner plans, if you will. And I really like doing this exercise. I did this last year. I just added questions this year. And this helps me get my brain organized of like, okay, what do you actually want and what do you actually need? Because in the chaos of planner release season, which is what we are in right now, there are so many options being thrown at us. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. I am so glad to see that there is so much variety, and there's pretty much probably a planner for anybody at this point, especially if you are a Tomoe River paper planner. And I'm here for it. I love seeing all the options. But personally, I don't want to spend, $1,000 on planners that I'm not going to use. So I'm going to try to organize myself beforehand before I make any impulse purchases. Which also brings me to say I have not pre-ordered anything except for the Wonderland 222. That is the only one that I pre-ordered, just because it is the original OG Tomoe River paper. Yeah, that's okay. That's another reason why I'm really kind of excited for that planner, because it is the OG Tomoe River paper. So if you haven't checked out Wonderland 222, go see that they have original Tomoe River paper for their planners this year. But yeah, that's the only one that I have pre-ordered. I have bought nothing else, pre-ordered nothing else. I'm still on the fence on what I want to do. So I'm not going to buy anything until I am 100% on it. And I think that's something that I'm going to try to do for years to come as well, because it's one, a bit more budget friendly for myself, and two, allows me to kind of get over my fear of missing out, my FOMO. And I think that's something else I want to chat about. And I know this probably isn't part of, planning for 2025, but the fear of missing out is something that I think this community has a lot of, anxiety about. And that's because things are limited edition, they may sell out. It's, you may not get it. And I can understand that can be really stressful, very anxiety filling, anxious moments. Like, the fear of missing out on something that you think would really work for you is kind of scary. But at the same time, the option to draw whatever it is that you're missing out on is there. And I know that I am probably a bit more of an artistic type person. I like to doodle. I literally draw and sell my own stickers. Like, it's just anybody can take a pencil and a ruler and draw a straight line, in my opinion. It's not that hard. So if you really wanted something that you were afraid of missing out on, draw it in a blank notebook and see if you actually would use it before you try it out. So I don't know. Like, think about the pre-order system, the way things go. It's open for a short window and then everything's ready to ship. And yes, if it sells out, I kind of see that as a fear, but at the same time, maybe it's sold out for a reason and you weren't meant to have it. I don't know. It's kind of like a little up in the air situation when it comes to pre-ordering, but I'm trying my best this year, for me personally, not to pre-order anything except for things that I am 100% set on that I know I want to use. And that's why I did the only pre-order for the Wonderland 222. But by the end of this video, which I think I'm going to stop here, I have a loose idea of what I want. I'm still waiting to see the rest of the releases. I want to see what kind of cover colors that are going to come out from Sterling Ink. I want to see the rest of the covers that Hobonichi is going to release. And ultimately, I want to wait and see what are all my options. Like, I know that I want certain sizes. I know that I want to spend a certain dollar amount or less. So once I have all the options available to me, then I'll make my purchases, right? Like, that's kind of how I'm trying to go about it this year. Anyways, if this video was helpful for you, please let me know down in the comments. With all the 2025 planner talk, have you made any decisions? Have you pre-ordered anything? Are you pretty firm on any of the planners that you're going to go into for next year? I would love to chat about it down in the comments. I think this is a really fun topic for this community this time of year, and it is kind of fun to watch all of the, 2025 planner plans, if you will. But yeah, I want to thank you so much for joining me here today, for hanging out. I hope to see you guys in the next one. And maybe we can actually make a decision, and by we, I mean me. Maybe I can make a decision on what I want to do for 2025, hopefully in the next few weeks before the Hobonichi release. Anyways, have a good one. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.